Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Wanted the best, you got him for abreast. Often imitated, never duplicated. The greatest show on dirt, the World of Outlaws!
Apologize for the technical difficulties. We are trying to solve a frames drop issue on OBS, but right now it looks like recent caution with 15 laps to go. Jeremy Cook is your race leader, and we'll try get as much as we can before we finalize this race in the Dynamo Designs 125 here from the virtual Pocono Raceway. Glad that everybody can tune with us on the KBueno Racing Network. Again, we apologize for the technical difficulties right now. It has been tough for us to bear. We know it's tough for you to bear as well. Green flag is going to be ready to come out this time by Jeremy Cook and Dimitri Mundros. Going to lead us to green here from Pocono once more. We'll be up at the front. James second now in a battle with James Bowen. Garrett White and all the drivers up at the front. Gino Merrill, John Canizaro. Canizaro has been sent out of this race. Sky McGurk back to 14th. Kaner Reif in 11th, right behind. Garrett White in the P10 spot. As Dejan Fulton Hall looks on a battle for P number 4, or rather P5 rather, that is Joe Berge and Steven Shipman as everybody tries to catch Jeremy Cook out of turn 3 to 13 laps to go. Looks like the 70 is going to be able to hold on for the lead. Bomar able to hold off Berge for what is P3 on the racetrack. Now Shipman might look to Dejan Fulton Hall. As Fulton Hall with 7th and 8th on the racetrack on the back straightaway. And car round, that is a 119 of David Bachman, goes for a lockup and is able to keep the car straight, will stay green on lap number 38. That was on the back straightaway, or I think the tunnel turn rather, exit turn 2. Mulder looking to the high side for P1. Or rather, he's in the race lead. That was a replay look. Dimitri Munoz now looking underneath for P2. Now caution is out. Dejan Fulton Hall involved for the first time. Fighting with Garrett White for position. White is falling back to 18th, entering the tunnel turn. We talked about how treacherous it is to go side by side in this corner. And right there, the 090 gets a little too low, gets into Garrett White, and White goes hard into the inside wall. Nothing for either of them to do. Just a big hit. Obviously tough for Garrett White, who was looking for a 4th consecutive victory. It looks like that may be dashed as Jay Mulder settles behind the pace truck. We're still trying to rectify a frames dropped issue here on OBS. And for right now, if you're missing some of the action visually, right now we'll give it to you from the audio side of things. Jay Mulder, your race leader right now. Steven Shipman has settled in a 2nd. Gino Mero in 3rd. Chase Mars in 4th. Sky McGurk, your top 5. And no playoff drivers before you get to that 71 in Gino Mero. And then Sky McGurk, Caden Rife, Josh Patterson, Timmy Spatz, Cameron McCone, and TJ Lair, the rest of your current top 10. And the caution with Garrett White, I believe, might have just taken him out of the race. Indeed, he has pulled it behind the wall. Same deal for Dejan Fulton Hall. So 17 cars now on the racetrack. Last one is David Bachman. And the 119, there he is on his pit stall. So again, for those just tuning in, this is the Dynamo Designs 125, the final race of the round of 14 in the WORC Dynamo Designs National Series. We're still experiencing a lot of the technical difficulties. We are trying to get those solved as much as possible and trying to remedy it in many different ways. But for right now, it doesn't seem to be working for the moment. And if you're seeing a lot of stuttering on the screen, that's exactly why you can still hear us here on the KBueno Racing Network. So at least can still give you a feed and info on what's going on track, as the field will head for turn 3 and we'll cross the line for 10 laps to go, with Canadian Jay Mulder looking for win number 2 on the season. He was able to pick up his first win of the year in the first race at Daytona International Speedway, but the 51 has yet to see the checkered flag since, and Mulder going to look to rebound here. And Steven Shipman also looking for his first career WORC Dynamo Designs National Series win. That's, of course, if he can get it done. It looks like we might stay another lap. We'll cross the start-finish line. We'll give you word on whether the lights will be off on the iRacing official pace truck, and we'll have a restart with inside 10 laps to go in this Dynamo Designs 125. Lights are off, so indeed we will go back to green. One more lap around this 2.5-mile triangle, and the 5161 will be the first two to see the restart and Barty the flagman when we get back to the front straightaway. So Charles Marsden, Gino Merrill, 3rd and 4th on the track. Caden Ryford, top 5. Sky McGuirk, Timmy Spatz, Josh Patterson, TJ Lair, and Cameron McCone to round out the rest of your current top 10. Back on the racing track, so he will be 17th and on the lead lap. Remarkably enough, he's just going to try and catch up to the field, although he's on the other end of the speedway. He's in turn 2, and the entire field now in the back straightaway, exit of turn 1. So very interesting situation for Bachman. He's going to have to really wheel that car to get back up to the field and at least have a shot to make the restart on time. A lot of cars single file on the inside lane. That includes Dimitri Munoz and James Bomar. In the rear of this group, of course, James Bomar beneath the cut line going into tonight's race. Dimitri Munoz above it. We've been trying to hold on to what is his 6th place position in the playoffs. And Bomar looking to get up to the top 9 after starting this race in the 12th spot in the playoffs. A total of 8 points beneath the cut line. So again, for those tuning in, we're still experiencing technical difficulties, so you're seeing a lot of stuttering on the front of your screen. We'll try to give you the best radio-style coverage right here on the KBueno Racing Network for the end of this Dynamo Designs 125. It will be Jay Mulder inside row 1, Steven Shipman on the outside. Green flag back in the air as the field will head for turn 1. A good start by Jay Mulder. He tries to go into turn 1 clear. Battle for second. Gino Merrill looking underneath. Steven Shipman. Good work in the first corner. 71 off into turn 1 in P2. Car sideways. Car sideways. That is TJ Lair. In James Bomar, Berge, Ramstead, and others involved. See what happened. It looks like TJ Lair got sideways first and then just caught everybody in it. Look at the replay entering turn 1. Lair in the middle, 3 wide. Jeremy Cook on the outside. Berge on the bottom. Berge slides up, gets into Lair, and then Berge gets into Collins, who then Ramstead gets into. And then Lair slides up in the 44, James Bomar, before Lair hits the outside wall and comes to rest. In the middle of the corner, all of them with damage. Of course, the first incident for Bomar, for Berge. I believe the second incident for the 5 of Collins. And so all of them with some sort of damage. For Ramstead, of course, insult to injury. He picked up a lot of damage to start this race, or at least in the first half, after hitting the pit road barrels at the exit of the final corner. And so we'll be under caution once again, this time with 7 laps remaining. Try and see if we can end this race under green, and Jay Mulder will catch up to the iRacing official pace truck, and so we'll see exactly what happens. As there's the pace truck right there. Gino Merrill to follow through in second. Steven Shipman, a fantastic effort so far with a 61 as he rounds out your current top 3. We'll see if there are any takers on pit road. These drivers on an interesting amount of tires, at least the amount of a tire stint. And I don't believe fuel is going to be a concern either. We've had so many yellows where drivers can come down for fuel and won't be having to worry about what's going to happen for the next handful of laps, at least the next 6. It is still a while to get around this Pocono Raceway, even with 6 laps left, but still, you have enough fuel to get to the end, and with the percentage that these guys are rolling with tonight, it's not a concern whatsoever. Tires and track position going to be the biggest thing, and track position, of course, a big part of racing here at Pocono. You would want to be near the front instead of near the middle or the rear of the pack, and it is a lot harder to make position here at this track because turn 1 could be a possibility to pass it, and same deal for turn 3, and maybe even in some cases turn 2, but this track is definitely hard to make moves on the inside or even the outside unless you're just a better car far and wide. So we will get the green flag with roughly 5 laps remaining here from Pocono. It will be Jay Mulder at the head of the field. Gino Mero and Steven Shipman, your top 3. Lights are off on the iRacing official pace truck. I believe we may go single file just based off the WORC rules. Indeed, we will. So 5 laps after the restart. We got a yellow inside those 5 laps. So we will go back under, rather, we'll go double file. So in fact, a long enough run. And the field will be side by side. When we get the restart, all be in Jay Mulder's hands to see if he can try to capture the magic from Daytona in the World Center of Racing and get his 2nd win of the season. He would avoid having to be in a situation where another driver wins and becomes a different winner. But luckily enough, Gino Mero also has picked up a win this season, one at the virtual Texas Motor Speedway. The 61 without a win. Sky McGurk without a win. Josh Patterson, then the next driver who does have a checkered flag when he got it over at Charlotte Dirt. And you have more playoff drivers back there. Caden Reif and the 54 of Timmy Spatz. Reif and Spatz, 4th and 7th, respectively, in their playoff numbers going into tonight's race. Should help them advance into the round of 9 if they keep it clean. So final 5 laps on tap here in the Dynamo Designs 125. Again, if you're just tuning in on the KBueno Racing Network, we are having some visual stuttering and a lot of technical difficulties. You can still hear the audio quite crisp, so we're going to try and give you a radio-style broadcast to the end of this race from Pocono. Try to give you as many visuals as possible to fill in the blanks, but for right now, Jay Mulder, Gino Mero in row number 1, Steven Shipman, Sky McGurk, row number 2, 3rd, and 4th. Josh Patterson, your top 5, then with Chase Marsden, Caden Reif, Timmy Spatz, Cameron McCone, and the 70 of Jeremy Cook for your top 10. Pace truck is down, Mulder is up and away, back under green with 5 laps to go. They chase for turn 1. They're side by side for 2nd as they grab 3rd and 4th gear for the first corner. Mero having to play defense on the 61. Shipman down low. Mero is able to clear side by side for 5th as Patterson looks under McGurk. Patterson under the 82. He makes that pass complete. Single file around your top 5 as Mulder looks to pull away. 1/10 of a second. Now closing as they enter the tunnel turn. In the tunnel turn, turn 2. Mero with a good run out of the corner. One driver way up in the wall. Shipman in the 61 in it. Will he go down? Yes, he will, but he won't collect anyone else with him. Marsden goes by. Reif goes by. Spatz, Moonjos, and the entire field blowing by the 61 as Patterson takes over 3rd. Mero hounding on Mulder, who gets loose out of turn 3. He looks to the inside of the front straightaway. 4 to go. 4 laps to go in this Dynamo Designs 125. They travel down the front straightaway, trying to break each other's draft. Still even into turn 1. Mero clears ahead for P1 in the race lead. And now can Mulder respond? He does not. He stays back. Sky McGurk and Josh Patterson. The mixed car around. Chase Marsden. Exit turn 1. And the yellow flies again. And we will have ourselves an overtime restart. Marsden got into a car heading for the outside wall. It looks like it was the 61 of Steven Shipman who had fallen back and was trying to recover. Went to the inside of Marsden, went way high up in turn 1. There were 3 wide, lost space as Munoz came up, slammed into the 61's left side. And then Marsden goes up into the wall. Looks like Jeremy Cook giving him some extra help and hooked him around completely in the 89. In trouble again. And so Marsden drop kicks through the field. He'll end up P17. Now he's the last driver in this field that's still running. As Gino Mero, who had taken over the lead with 3 laps to go, will hold on. Jay Mulder, Sky McGurk into your top 3. As another caution flies, field will pick up the iRacing official pace truck at the exit of turn 1. And now we have ourselves a green-white checkered finish, which I don't believe we've had it since Myrtle Beach. Before we kicked off the playoffs for the WORC Dynamo Designs National Series in Myrtle Beach, of course, we exhausted all of our attempts, and it was Garrett White who held out in front for what was at the moment his 2nd win of the season. And so we'll see if Mero can do the same, get win number 2, and this time in the playoffs it would mean huge things for him. Heading into the round of 9, a lot of momentum as he tries to get back to the championship 4. Field will stay in pace mode behind the truck entering turn 3. So as we get into green-white checkered territory from the Pocono Raceway, we'll explain how the rules will work for you as it stands. It will be a restart with 2 laps to go. We'll have a double file restart, I believe. We'll just see when the lights come off on the truck, whether it will be single file or double. But nonetheless, if we are double, then we'll have the restart regardless with 2 laps to go. We'll try to get the white flag and finish this race under green. If a caution comes out before the leader gets to the white flag, we'll stack them up and do it all over again. I believe we have 3 attempts to get this race finished under green-white checkered circumstances. If the leader gets the white flag, the race is official. We'll race it back to the stripe. We'll get a winner out of all of it. And if the green-white checkered attempts are exhausted, then the leader at the time of the last caution at the timing loop will be considered the checkered flag holder and winner of the Dynamo Designs 125. So I believe we've been able to solve some of the frame rate issues on OBS. Looks like we have a clear picture for you on the KBueno Racing Network, so you'll be able to get a visual of the final 2 laps here at the Tricky Triangle with Gino Mero out in front, Jay Mulder, the Canadian, on the outside, Sky McGurk, rookie driver in P3, Josh Patterson, defending series champion in P4. Then goes Dimitri Munoz, who had been in the mid-pack all race long. Looks like he's going to be inside the top 5. And then goes Steven Shipman, Jeremy Cook, Timmy Spatz, 6th through 8th. Caden Reif in P9, and Cameron McCone, your top 10. Field will come off of turn 2. Pace truck will make the entrance of pit road at the exit of turn 3, and it will be the restart at the discretion with 2 laps remaining and 5 miles left for the 71 of Gino Mero. Last win at Texas Motor Speedway in the middle of the regular season. Could be his first win of the playoffs. Mulder looking to spoil the party as the only non-playoff driver inside your top 5. Pace truck will be down, 3 laps to go. And Gino Mero will have control. Will he make an early jump? It looks like he will. He'll catch the 51 off guard. Final restart potentially here from Pocono. And the question is, can they make it through turn 1 without a crash? McGurk clears for 2nd. Mulder now looking for a crossover into turn 1 and can't quite do it as Munoz hounds underneath Timmy Spatz. Couple of drivers nearly getting to the outside wall. We're still single file. Here comes McGurk. Challenge on the inside for the tunnel turn. McGuirk looking for his first career WORC Dynamo Designs National Series victory. He stays underneath the 71 at the exit of turn 2. They're side by side for third. Merrill's able to clear, and the penultimate time, we head for turn 3. Mulder sneaks his nose underneath the 82. They make contact. McGuirk gets bullied out of the way. They're 3 wide. Merrill catches the white flag in the Dynamo Designs 125. Merrill looking to become the winner at the first ever WORC Dynamo Designs National Series race from Pocono. Mulder with one opportunity to strike. As Munoz has stepped into third, Patterson settles into fourth. They were side by side inside the top 5 as McGuirk is on the back to 7th. And the final time for the back straightaway. Merrill looking to block all types of draft for the tunnel turn. Gino Merrill has been unsuccessful for victory lane, yet has been fast week in and week out. And going into the final corner, he might have enough to be able to hold off Jay Mulder in the 51. Final time out of turn 3. Merrill sees the checkered flag, his second of the season, and more insurance going for the round of 9. Gino Merrill wins the Dynamo Designs 125. His second win of the season. And a win that just may mean confidence at an all-time high, heading for Chicagoland. Jay Mulder, not enough to go for the race win. In that final lap, he finishes second. Dimitri Munoz rounds out your top 3. But it is Gino Merrill in the 71, victorious once again. He'll take the final trip around turn 3. He'll see the start-finish line, and he will celebrate. Celebration for the 71. Merrill wins at the Tricky Triangle. You can talk about the consistency that he carried through the regular season, the points leader for a majority of the second half. And now into the playoffs. Obviously, the wins by Garrett White shot him up the leaderboard, but Merrill has always been there. And going into this race, he was second in the point standings. And now, a guaranteed spot into next round. And a lot of hunger. Heading for what could be his second straight Championship 4 appearance. As he continues to celebrate, we'll bring it across the front straightaway. And we'll spin it around once more. Let's take a look at your full unofficial results in the Dynamo Designs 125. Gino Merrill wins for the second time this season by 0.3 of a second over Jay Mulder. Dimitri Munoz rounds out your top 3. We'll talk to all of them before we conclude our coverage on the KBueno Racing Network. Josh Patterson ends up P4. Joe Berge, the last driver, inside your top 5. Before we get to Timmy Spatz in P6. 7th to Sky McGuirk. 8th will go to Caden Reif. 9th to Cameron McCone. And Jeremy Cook, the last driver, inside the top 10. Then goes James Bomar, a up and down evening, got involved in a caution, but still rebounds for 11. Steven Shipman ends up P12. Brayson Collins is 13th. David Bachman 14th. TJ Lair will be inside the top 15. Then goes Clayton Ramstead. Rough night for the 21. A lot of damage and still able to somehow find a way through the mid-pack. Then goes 17th. Chase Marsden. Garrett White. First driver, 1 lap down or more, 13 laps down. He exited this race early, but he's already got locked in to this next round in 18th. Dejan Fulton Hall, his debut goes sour near the end. He gets involved into a crash, 14 laps down. He will finish in 19th. Henry Clappert, the last driver in your top 20. And then goes heartbreak for John Canizaro, who got into a crash at a turn 3 after starting the race so strong. He's going to be eliminated from the WORC Dynamo Designs National Series playoffs. 21st he will be. Laith Hicks is 22nd. Ryan Zabo, Brady Cox, and Jared Wilson make up the final couple of drivers in this field. 24 started. Jared Wilson unable to make the green flag. So it is Gino Mero victorious here from the virtual Pocono Raceway as he takes the Dynamo Designs 125. We'll talk to Mero in victory lane. And Gino, an unbelievable race for you. You had one of the quickest cars to start in a fight with John Canizaro. Sky McGurk at one point in this race. A lot of cautions, but for you at the end, it all works out. How were you able to do this? And obviously, the biggest question in mind, what are your thoughts and emotions after this win?
Honestly, just ecstatic, dude. I've been trying to look for my second win. I didn't want to be a guy that just wins once per season in any league, and it feels good to get this win. And honestly, I thought I didn't have it. I scraped my right side. I had 6 seconds of optional. I had 9 seconds of optional, but I only could repair like so much before I had to get out of pit road. But man, luckily the sun stayed up and the tires stayed on me, and man, I could just go up to the lead.
And walk us through that moment you were able to get around Jay Mulder for P1 just before one of the cautions came out. I mean, was there a somewhat of a struggle here trying to race at Pocono as the day progressed and as cautions came out, or did you just find your groove since the drop of the green?
Well, I'm definitely surprised to get pole. I don't know how, but also just Jay got tight. I mean, he pitted on lap 24, and I don't know how he made it. On fuel, hell, I don't even know how he made it to second place. But honestly, I was putting dirty air on his quarter panel and trying to make him tight as possible. And when I saw him sideways, I'm like, all right, just blip the throttle a little bit, and I just yeeted it left. And I knew I had him in one, but he was still with me, and I had to catch myself. And on the straightaways, it was about like maybe a 3 mile an hour slower. So, of course, iRacing damage didn't really help me, but man, I mean, it sucks for my teammate Sky, but I think he's into the next round, so kudos to him. And I want to win as many races as possible going forward. Unfortunately, I'm moving in the second round. I like to announce that. Moving all the way to Florida, so I'm coming from where I'm staying now, California, all the way to Florida. So it's going to be tough to make these rounds, and if I don't make the playoffs, I'm glad I can finish it out with 2 wins on the season.
Of course, we wish you the best of luck on your move to Florida. I know, obviously, Daytona's in a week time or just a couple of days. So, I mean, maybe you can hop over to Daytona or Homestead, either one of the tracks when you're down there, finally moved. But Gino, of course, we'll talk about the playoffs and this win, obviously locking you in to the round of 9. But this story really goes all the way back to the regular season where you were the points leader. Consistency has been so key for you. And how were you able to keep all this up throughout all the different types of challenges and tracks that we've seen on the schedule?
Pretty much just knowing my losses, and if I can't beat someone today, I'll just focus on maintaining position. And of course, I want to go for wins, but if you don't know your limit, I mean, you're just going to pile drive into the wall or just keep DNFing. And I'm just not that kind of guy. I don't care about wins. I mean, I definitely do, but it's all about consistency and just staying consistent. And as long as I can finish a race, I know I can finish outside the inside the top 10, not outside of it. And just staying up there in points is just really my mission to do throughout these rounds and races.
Well, a big win nonetheless here from the virtual Pocono Raceway, and you'll be able to continue your championship hopes at least for the next couple of weeks. Before we let you go, and to help you celebrate this further, anybody you'd like to thank in particular for tonight's event?
Oh, I'd like to thank Sky McGurk. I mean, he helped me on a couple of restarts, and I want to thank Garrett White. He helped me on a couple of restarts. He got killed by someone. I don't know, someone with a D, but it's unfortunate that he got killed. I mean, of course, I want to beat him in points, but definitely not that. I mean, he was fast. He was 10 RPM down, but he was still quick. But he kind of gave me leeway, and we agreed to stay together and run single file when we're passing through traffic. So big thank you to him. And also, if I don't make these playoffs, I want to give a shout out to Sky. I just hope he can get into the championship 4 if I'm not there.
Well, nonetheless, Gino, we certainly appreciate the time. Out of all of our members of the KBueno Racing Network, congratulations on the win here from Pocono with the Dynamo Designs 125. We'll see you in the round of 9 from Chicagoland next week.
Yep, thank you.
So that is Gino Mero in the 71, able to be victorious in the final handful of laps at the Tricky Triangle. We'll talk to the driver in second. That is Daytona winner and Canadian Jay Mulder in the number 51. And Jay, just give us your perspective in those final laps. And did you feel you had enough to get up to Gino Mero in that last restart?
Yeah, it was a fun event tonight, and I think I was a little bit disadvantaged against Gino there, but felt like I had quite a bit left, or not quite a bit left, but had a shot there for sure, but ran out of time, ran out of corners. I think my biggest mistake was letting him get by me at first off of turn 3, because after that I got loose off of 3 and he drove by and caution came out. He controlled the start from there, so I think that's where I gave it up, but still a fun night overall. Fun race.
A lot of fun watching you move yourself up through the field, and it looked like it was a big change from you in the mid-pack fighting for positions inside the top 10, top 15, and then all of a sudden with a shot to win inside the top 3. So were there any adjustments you had to make behind the wheel, and if so, what were they?
It was honestly just getting the track down a little better and getting a better handle on things. I only play iRacing so often, so I had to figure things out as I went. But yeah, as the night went on, figure out ways to get around and ways to control my tires, stuff like that, and turned out pretty good.
Nonetheless, a lot of consistency shown here. The Daytona winner and still able to be very fast despite not being able to get the win. Jay, before we let you go on the second place finish from Pocono, anybody in particular you'd like to thank?
I'd like to thank you, of course, for putting on the broadcast. You do a great job every week. Brayson, Collins, Josh Patterson, the whole ownership group here who puts on the races every week. Don Pools has been with me forever. And Limeade Media, Circle B Diecast, the NASCAR Hotspot, MRU, and Beyond the Lights for supporting me. It's been fun when I can show up, so thank you guys.
Well, Jay, we certainly appreciate the time. Congratulations on the P2 finish. Hope to see you in the next race at Chicagoland 1 week from tonight.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
So that's Jay Mulder in the 51, second at the cross of the start-finish line here from Pocono. And now we will talk to the driver who has had quite a route here in this WORC Dynamo Designs National Series playoffs, but Dimitri Mundros ends up, I believe, advanced into the next round as the 60 car comes home in P3. And Dimitri, I want to ask you about this race first and foremost. What did it look like from your perspective behind the wheel, and what type of challenges did you have to face?
Yeah, it was a weird race. You wouldn't think at a track like Pocono, especially with a smaller field that we had, there would be that many cautions. And it was unfortunate because I based my strategy a couple times off hoping that we would have a longer green flag run, but obviously that never came. But thankfully I was able to rebound to P3 there.
Big rebound for P3, but I want to ask you about the playoffs here. Of course, you are confirmed. It looks like advanced into the next round. You'll continue your route for a WORC Dynamo Designs National Series Championship, but you started off after a penalty at Myrtle Beach. 10 points deducted from Charlotte. You're able to rebound there. Then at Bristol, where you were still underneath the cut line. Then you're above the cut line into tonight, and then you perform with a lot of pressure on you. How were you able to do that? And just give us the perspective of what it was like to be with your back against the wall and still prevail at the end of this round.
Yeah, I mean, tonight particularly was, like I said, an odd race, but I always have confidence in my pace, and yeah, thankfully most importantly, I wasn't ever given huge damage, so that was the biggest thing, just execution.
Execution works out for you in the end. You continue the playoff run here in this number 60 machine. Before we let you go on this third place finish, Dimitri, from Pocono, anybody you'd like to thank in particular?
Yeah, big thank you to all the people at Whiteout. Car owner Garrett White, unfortunately, he was involved in a wreck, so that sucks. But yeah, we're looking forward to the next few weeks.
And we certainly appreciate the time, Dimitri, on behalf of our broadcast team. Congratulations on the podium finish here from the Tricky Triangle, and we'll see you next week at Chicagoland. So that is Dimitri Mundros in the number 60, third place at the end of tonight's event from Pocono in the Dynamo Designs 125. So with that, we have our round of 9 confirmed, at least from the point standings, and obviously it looks like Garrett White going to be at the top of the leaderboard with the 2 wins in the first round. Gino Mero should be second. We may have Josh Patterson, who finished 4th in this race, still be able to fight for a title. Same deal for Joe Berge. We saw Timmy Spatz make a run for 6th at the end. Same deal for Sky McGuirk in 7th. So there's a lot of good, a lot of positive to be talking about with those playoff drivers. It looks like John Cannizzaro, Ryan Martin, and we'll see exactly who else is considered out of the playoffs. But for right now, confirmed, John Cannizzaro and Ryan Martin both did not make this race, so it looks like they are officially done for the season in terms of running for the championship. We'll try and take a moment and see exactly who is confirmed for the round of 9, which will happen next week at Chicagoland Speedway. We'll see if we can pull up the standings for you in just a little bit. Obviously, don't have the updated ones on our graphic that we showed you at the top of the show. It looks like points have not been updated yet, but for right now, we know that Garrett White is in, Gino Mero is in. We should expect that Dimitri Mundros has found his way past. Same deal for defending series champion Josh Patterson. As for eliminations, it is going to get very tight around that cut line in 9th and 10th, but we do know Cannizzaro in the 018 is out. Ryan Martin in the 9 also out of contention. So we'll try and solve all of those questions, and we'll try and push through the rest of the round of 9 here on the KBueno Racing Network. So for everyone involved at the World Online Racing Championship, for Brayson Collins and everybody on behalf of the admin team and the race council, for Charlie Byer, Keelan Belsha, and Francisco Bacallao of the KBueno Racing Network, my name is Kenneth Bueno, saying so long and good night from Long Pond, Pennsylvania. Congratulations to Gino Mero on win number 2 of the season. The round of 9 kicks off 1 week from tonight. We'll see you then.